Welcome back, Twisters. Nick here, and today we're going to be reviewing your 2021 NHL regular season predictions. So we're going to look at the standings as they turned out at the end of this season, and we're going to compare based on what you selected when we had a live stream before the season started, and we're going to compare that against me to see if you guys actually beat me as a team. So let's jump into this. So what we're going to do, what I've done is I've got the standings here from the regular season, and I've got your predictions and I've got my predictions. So here's the scoring system for this. So if the team that you selected finished in that spot in the standings, you received 2 points. But if that team made the playoffs, you received an additional point. So let's say that you predicted a team to finish in third, but they actually finished in fourth. Well, because they still qualified for the playoffs, you still get 1 point. And then what I'll also do is I'll borrow from Canuck Clay's model. So I actually was in a video with him. We were talking about our West Division predictions on his channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. He is terrific. And so he actually revisited his predictions at the end of the season, and I'm going to borrow from his model as well. But we're going to start with my point system, and then we'll move to his later on. Okay, here we go. So we're going to start in the North Division. So you guys were right, and so was I. So the Maple Leafs finished in first place, and of course you get 2 points for that because you got that correct, and because they're in the playoffs you get an additional point. So in second place was the Oilers. You guys actually selected the Canucks to finish second, and they didn't quite do so hot. As you can tell, they finished all the way down in seventh, whereas I selected the Canadiens to finish in second, and if they didn't fire Claude Julien, maybe they would have been there, or at least in third. And so I get 1 point though because they actually qualified for the playoffs. In third place was the Jets, but you selected the Oilers to finish third. Nonetheless, because they are a playoff team, you get a point, and so do I because I had them right there as well. And in fourth place, you guys nailed this one because Montreal finished in fourth, and so you get 2 points for the standings prediction, and you get an additional point for them being in the playoffs. I had the Jets in the playoffs, so I get 1 point. And then our bottom three teams, Flames, Senators, and Canucks in that order for the official standings. We didn't get any points for that because we had our teams in different order there. But overall, you managed to outscore me with a total of 7 points. I managed with 6 points. So now let's go to our next division. That is the Central. And so the Hurricanes finished in first place, and both you guys and myself picked the Hurricanes to finish in first. So we get 3 points for that. In second place were the Panthers. So you guys picked the Lightning to finish in second place, but because they finished in third, you still get a point. They're in the playoffs, and I had them there in second as well. So in second place, I said earlier, was the Panthers. I had the Panthers in fourth place, so I still had them in the playoffs, so I get a point for that. You had them all the way down in sixth, though, so no soup for you. Next up, we had the Predators in fourth place. You guys picked the Blue Jackets. They didn't finish the season very well. And I had the Panthers, of course. So yeah, basically as we get into the bottom four, things didn't turn out all so well for you. So the Stars were in fifth. We had them in third. The Blackhawks were in sixth. You had them in seventh. I had them at the bottom because of their injuries. And then the Red Wings, you had in seventh. I also had the Red Wings in seventh. So I get 2 points because I got the correct placement of that. And then the Blue Jackets were on the bottom. You had the Red Wings and I had the Hawks. So you didn't do so hot with the Central Division. You scored 4 points because you only got 2 playoff teams correct. I had 7 points because I had 3 playoff teams, and I also had the Red Wings finishing in that 7th spot. Now let's move to the East. So the Penguins finished first, and you and I both bailed on this big time. We had the Flyers finishing at the top of the division. I know we weren't the only ones either. They didn't finish anywhere near that. They were in sixth. They were a train wreck. Wow, it was just a terrible year for them. Capitals finished in second. You guys had the Islanders, but nonetheless, the Islanders finished fourth, so you get a point for that, whereas I get all 3 points because I had the Capitals finishing in second. The Bruins finished third, and you get all 3 points there as well because you predicted them to finish third. I had the Bruins outside the playoff picture, though, so I don't get any points there. And you had the Islanders in fourth, as I mentioned earlier, and I had the Penguins in fourth, so even though they won the division, I still get a point for where they finished in playoff contention, whereas you had them in fifth. You had the Rangers in sixth. They finished fifth, and I had them in 7th actually, even though I'm certainly impressed by how they've been able to turn things around in the last couple of years. I thought they still had some work to do. The Devils, we both predicted them to finish in last, but they finished in 7th. And as for the Sabres, I had predicted them to finish in 6th. You had them in 7th, and of course they finished in 8th. So adding up our point totals here, you get 3 for the Bruins, you get 1 for the Caps, and you get 1 for the Islanders for a total of 5. And pretty similarly for myself, I got 3 points for the Capitals, 1 point for the Isles, and 1 for the Penguins. So we both ended up with 5 points there. So if you're keeping track, things are still favoring you. Actually, no, I have a slight lead here. I think I have a +2 lead. However, ladies and gentlemen, things do change a little bit here in the West. So you guys did really well with the top 2 teams because the Avalanche finished first, and that's where you predicted them to be. So you get all 3 points. The Golden Knights finished in 2nd, so of course you get all 3 points there. Whereas I actually had Vegas in 1st, even though Peter DeBoer never won a division title with the San Jose Sharks. And the Avalanche I had in 2nd, so I only get 1 point for each of them. Both of us had predicted the Blues to finish in 3rd, and they finished in 4th, so we still get a point for that. The Minnesota Wild took us by storm. We both had them finishing in 5th, whereas they finished in 3rd. We both had the Sharks finishing 4th, and I know that probably a lot of you guys picked the Sharks to finish up there, probably for me or because you secretly kind of like the Sharks too, whereas they finished in 7th. So let's see, your Coyotes finished in 5th in the division. We both had them at 6th. The Kings finished in 6th, whereas you picked them 7th, and I picked them in 8th. However, this is where you definitely pull ahead, because you had the Ducks all the way down at the bottom. I had them in 7th, but they finished in 8th, so you get 2 points for being correct there. So overall, you smoked me like a brisket in this division, and so you won 9 points to 3 points. So with that said, when we compare your predictions based on my model for this season, you outscored me 25 to 21. So tip of the cap to you there. You have beaten me in that model. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Canuck Clay's model. So basically, it's comparing where the team finished in the standings versus where you predicted them. And that's based on where they were in the standings. So in other words, if they finished in 4th, but you predicted them in 6th, then the difference there is 2. So think of this like golf, where the lower score between the two of us is actually better. So you want to have less points accumulated. That's like less strokes or fewer strokes in golf. I'm absolutely terrible at golf, but I know a thing or two because I grew up right next to Pebble Beach. Okay, so using Clay's model here, both of us had the Maple Leafs in 1st, so the difference there was 0, right? The difference in the standings. The Oilers, you and I both finished or predicted them to finish in 3rd. They finished in 2nd, so we get 1 point or 1 stroke against us essentially here, so we're tied. The Jets, you had them finishing in 5th. I had them finishing in 4th, so there's a difference of 2 for the Jets on your end, 1 for me. Canadiens, you nailed that one, whereas the difference here is 2 for me because I had them predicted in 2nd instead of 4th. Flames, we each had them finishing in 6th. They finished in 5th. Senators, same kind of thing here where we both predicted them to finish at the bottom, whereas they finished 1 spot better in 6th. And the Canucks, here's where you guys didn't do so hot. You had them all the way in 2nd, so the difference between that and where they finished was 5 places in the standings, whereas with me, I had them finishing in 5th, so that's a difference of 2. Let's take a look at the Central. So Hurricanes, we got them right as the division winner. Panthers, you had them all the way down in 6th when they finished in 2nd, and I had them in 4th, so the difference there was only 2 spots. The Lightning, you and I both predicted them to finish 3rd. They finished in 2nd. The Predators, you had them finishing in 5th, so they finished in 4th. I had them down in 6th, so this is where I kind of take the hit there. The Stars, both of us predicted them to finish 3rd. They finished in 5th, so a 2 spot difference. Blackhawks, you had them in 7th. They finished in 6th, so the difference there is 1, whereas I had them all the way down at the bottom, so the difference there was 2. The Red Wings, you had them in 8th. They finished in 7th, so that's a difference of 1. I got that one correct. And the Blue Jackets, you had them in 4th. They finished in 8th, so you take 4 strokes for that. whereas I had them finishing 5th, so just a little bit better. Okay, let's move over to the East, and so the Penguins finished at the top. You guys had them in 5th, so that's a 4-stroke disadvantage there. I had them finishing 4th, so not much better, but just a little bit more. Capitals you had finishing in 4th. I had them finishing in 2nd, so I got that one right. You were 2 spots off. Islanders, you had them finishing 2nd, so that's an additional 2 strokes essentially for you. I had them finishing 3rd, so I was off by 1. Rangers, you were off by 1. I was off by 2. Flyers, we were both off by quite a bit there. Devils, we were off by 1. And for the Sabres, I was off by 2. You were off by just 1. So when I add these up, we were actually tied in the East Division. And lastly, we'll take a look at the West. And of course, you guys did really well when we looked at this earlier. And it's not too much different, actually. So you guys got the Avalanche and the Golden Knights. And you also got the Ducks perfect, too. So that's all good there. And then the Wild, we both had a 2-spot difference there. Blues, we had a 1-spot difference. Coyotes, a 1-spot difference. Kings, you were off by 1, where I was off by 2. Sharks, we were both off by 3. And of course, I was off by 1 for the Golden Knights and the Avalanche. So overall, you did make up some ground here. So I was 4 strokes behind you, essentially. So that's going to do it for this video. Just wanted to have some fun with this one. Make sure that you stick around by hitting the notifications bell. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a thumbs up. That really helps because that way we attract more viewers like yourselves. Check out the video description down below for links to my social media and to our merch store as well. Thanks again for tuning in, my friends. Once again, I'm Nick. I'll catch you Twisters later. Ciao.